This is high-speed chess. That's what you're watching.
So fans across the board are speculating Terence Crawford is a cheater, right? There's no solid concrete evidence, so it sounds a bit ridiculous from a lot of you guys. I like to let the ship sail. Well, if he's testing negative, I give him the benefit of the doubt. He's negative, right? He's a clean fighter. I think it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to be suspicious. It's okay to want a clean sport and a clean mega fight coming up in September 13th, that is, with Canelo versus Crawford, right? So it's okay to ask these questions. A lot of guys get defensive. They say, well, Canelo tested positive. We don't point our finger at him, but we ask questions about Crawford. Like I said, if you're clean, there should be no offense taken from the questions arising. Now with Canelo in his camp, I made videos on McGee and those guys, Eddie Reynoso. I love those guys, but I don't know what the hell's going on in their camp, right? I don't know. I don't know, right? My thing with Reynoso is that he does test positive. When fighters end up on some stuff, they do test positive. With Victor Conte and the SNAC program, not so much, right? And just to, kind of make the comparison here, you guys love saying Manny Pacquiao was on steroids, never tested positive. Floyd was the only one who tested positive throughout both of their careers. But you guys point your finger at Pacquiao because of the suspicion and the questions about his career. Yet Floyd, just like Canelo, was the only one who ever tested for anything. Right? So let's be consistent here, right? It's okay to ask questions for guys who haven't popped. I don't think Holyfield popped. We could look at Holyfield and say, hey, yeah, that's a bit weird. That's a bit strange. Now, where are the questions coming from with Terence Crawford? The move to 168, he looks a bit large. He doesn't look absurdly large in my opinion. He looks like a decently sized 38-year-old male, right? Especially very fit, active male, that is, at the world-class pound-for-pound level. So I don't really see much in the size of Terence Crawford. He looks about decent, average size for the super middleweight division. Did he put on the weight pretty quick? Yeah, but in the same breath, the guy, he may have been weight drained. A lot of people are saying that he's closer to his walk-around weight. And in the same breath, you could also say he has the best diet and nutritionist on the planet, right? What really is sparking the controversy is what we're going to get into here. Not only, the weight thing, it's like, okay, you're jumping, this is your third weight class in the last 2 years at 37. Okay, you're kind of jumping up these divisions kind of quick for a guy who's older, right? But is his involvement with Victor Conte's SNAC. So I want to get straight into that, actually. Let us talk about that. I went on, did some research on SNAC. I watched some videos. SNAC is a really weird company. First thing that really raises an alarm for me, and not a lot of people talk about, is the business of SNAC. I want to go to SNAC's website and I want to look at their business, right? This is a SNAC website. It's a normal website. There's nothing crazy going on here. But when you go shop, let's look at some of their nutrition, which would more than likely be some of the best products. And I look, and there's not a lot of reviews on these things, right? 143 reviews is probably their top selling product, right? Maybe it's their post-workout. 130 reviews. Is it their pre-workout? 143 again. Gear, maybe. No. Anything that's just overwhelmingly selling on the SNAC shop. No. Most things are sitting around under 100 reviews, which does not translate to sales, but we could get a good estimate, right? If we say there's 143 reviews, we could say maybe 2,000 sales were made, right? Which still is not a lot. Still's not a lot. I don't see why enough people are raising the alarm here that how is SNAC even generating the type of money they are to pay these athletes? How? I even did some digging on that. Let me see. Let's skip down here. only time I could see somebody was actually at the SNAC training facility. I looked it up. People paid to train at their facility. Only evidence I could find was Devin Haney back in 2019. He had a camp here, and that's it. And this was against Luke Campbell. No, that was the guy he knocked out. That one guy he knocked out. I can't remember his name. But that's the only signs of fighters training at their facilities, and potentially a fighter giving up a percentage of their purse to Victor Conte for his services and his training equipment. So really, really weird. Where is the money coming from? How much is he paying Haney, Bud, Shakur, Demetrius Andre, Caleb Plant? We're talking about world champions. We're talking about pound for pound fighters. And I'm just thinking, where is he generating this money? Because when you look at the SNAC page, the product it's failing. This is not successful. If you have Devin Haney and Terence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson, some of the biggest boxers in America, actively promoting, right? We could even look at if we just look up, let me see, Devin Haney SNAC. Come on. Okay. We look up Devin Haney SNAC. He's actively promoting SNAC. Right? SNAC. His SNAC beanie at the facility. SNAC t-shirt. I was watching the Loma fight. His whole camp in the back, his whole corner, my bad, had the SNAC t-shirts on. They are actively promoting. They're actively trying to push this brand, this product. And you go to the website, the results are not reflecting the amount of promotion they're putting into it. Well, Jerry, what are you getting here? What are you insinuating? What are you saying? Where's the money coming from? Now, Victor Conte he was found guilty for money laundering in 2005, 2006. So I'm not pulling this out my rear end. He did. He was found guilty for money laundering. So the money is looking a bit fishy here. Money may be going under the table. This is not a bad assumption I'm making. Am I pulling this out my rear end? God, I wish I could cuss on here. I'm trying to keep my monetization up. My potential theory is that fighters are paying him maybe to keep their test clean. I'm not saying any fighter's names. I'm not accusing any fighter. Right? If you don't test positive, I'm not going to sit here and say anybody's names. Right? For my knowledge, I believe Terence Crawford is a clean fighter, but it doesn't sound crazy. What would be a really successful business model? Hey, you want to be a world-class boxer. You want to take your game to the next level. You could take PEDs. Well, no, you can't. Why can't you? Because I'm a test positive, and the public image is going to change on me, and my wins are going to be overturned to no contest, and I may be forced out of boxing by the masses, promoters, and managers. Well, I can hide your PEDs. I can hide all those drugs and steroids you possibly or potentially want to take. That is a successful business model. Is it not? You know how much somebody would pay for that? How much would they pay for it, Jerry? They would pay enough to get other fighters on board and sponsor other fighters. That's how much they would pay. All you need is one client. One top fighter would pay millions for that. Right? They'll give up 5-10% of their purse for that type of benefit. And with that 5-10% of a world-class fighter's purse, you can go over and you can go grab more fighters. All right. I'm not a theory guy. I'm not. I like to see things for what they are. But SNAC does rub me the wrong way. And like I said, I'm not calling out any fighters, you know. Terence Crawford hasn't shown me anything to believe that he is a dirty fighter. Neither has Devin Haney for the most part, Shakur. But I don't like the SNAC program, and maybe they are clean, maybe they aren't. But I don't like these guys in boxing. Let's do a little bit more deep diving. All right. So I found a picture of Victor Conte with Ronnie Coleman. found Ronnie Coleman admitted to doing steroids. Just connections here, right? I was doing a bit of research on these guys. I go to SNAC. SNAC was not founded in 2011. Some people will tell you it was founded in 2011 after Victor Conte tried to open a new chapter of his life. No. SNAC was founded in 1987, just 3 years after Balco. Balco was the one he went down for in 2005, 2006. So SNAC was running alongside Balco. SNAC was a dirty company at one point. I don't know about today, but at one point, SNAC was a dirty company. Well, Jerry, what? That doesn't make sense. This is what you're telling me. Victor Conte, con man, POS, I'll call him that. He's a POS con man, whatever. He's running Balco. 100% Balco is dirty. There's no speculation. He was found guilty with several charges of illegal distribution of steroids and money laundering. Balco was shut down abruptly, and he only served 4 months, which is kind of crazy. Whatever. He founded Balco in 84. He founded SNAC in 87. You're telling me this con man, he's running Balco, and SNAC isn't kind of falling under the same suit as Balco? That doesn't make sense, right? If I'm running a business, right, let's say I'm doing, I don't know, cutting hair. And I'm money laundering at one store over here. I'm going to be doing another one over here. And every other store, I'm going to at least attempt to do it, right? More money. That's more money, right? I'm not just going to, launder out of one shot. I'm going to try to network these things, make it as big as possible. It applies here. SNAC and Balco founded around the same time, right? There was a point in Victor Conte's career where SNAC was a dirty company. I can almost guarantee you that. Like I said, today, could not tell you, but there was a point in time, right? Here we go. Victor Conte, yeah. So Victor Conte's legal troubles stemming from the Balco scandal culminated in his plea of guilty to steroid distribution and money laundering charges on July 15, 2005. So that's when he was busted. He was subsequently sentenced on October 18th, 2005 to 4 months in prison and 4 months of house arrest. He was released from prison on March 30th, 2006. So, like I said, I'm not pulling this stuff out nowhere. Money laundering, steroid distribution in 2005, right? Now, why is this stuff popping back up? Why is people questioning Crawford out of nowhere? It's not really the move to 68. Like I said, it raised a couple of people's eyebrows. I didn't really give a damn. It's boxing. I've seen it before, right? I didn't care. It's this, right? I really couldn't find the original tweet Conte made or the post statement. People are concerned. Is Victor Conte closely aligned with Terence Crawford? We knew he sponsored Terence Crawford, and maybe Terence Crawford utilized SNAC supplements, right? Their natural nutrition and pre-post workout that could maybe give him an energy boost in camp and help him perform better up into his fight, right? We knew he was that aligned with Victor Conte and his SNAC program, but Victor Conte is now releasing the statements in the results for his negative drug test, which was also botched. The dates were not aligned, so it looks like it was tampered with a bit here, right? I'm not making any accusations on Terence Crawford. Like I said, I cannot stress enough, I believe he's a clean fighter. I'm saying it's not a good look. It's not a good look. This makes it seem like Victor Conte is your nutritionist. Your nutritionist should be releasing your negative drug test findings, right? Not a guy who's only supposed to be a sponsor. You wouldn't have Prime, you wouldn't have KSI and Logan Paul release them. Why? Because they're just sponsors. So this makes it seem like they are a lot closer than we thought. That Victor Conte is maybe in the camp that Victor Conte's maybe is supplying Terence Crawford with certain supplements. And we kind of know that Victor Conte, he's admitted several times that I can get under these tests. Victor Conte's closely aligned with Vada, right? Closely aligned with Vada. And that's what he should do. That's the smartest thing to do. That lowers suspicion, but you've already admitted you can get under the test. So it doesn't really mean much that you're closely aligned to the people that cannot bust you. Very interesting choice for Team Crawford. I think it's a bad look. I think it's a bad image to be closely aligned with a guy in Conte like this. Right? Okay, he's lining your pockets up with money to wear his logo. Okay, you use his products from time to time. Okay, that's cool. But y'all relationship is a lot closer than a lot of fans thought. And a lot of fans are a bit disappointed in Terence Crawford, right? There's a lot on Victor Conte and the SNAC program. Like I said, I'm not accusing any fighters. I want the sport to be as clean as possible. I want the sport to be the best it can be, right? And that happens to be fighters testing positive. I think that's when the sport is as best as it can be. Like I said, am I accusing anybody? No. I want to be just. I want to be fair. That's why I made my page. We have the right to raise eyebrows. Don't be defensive. This doesn't look good. Right? You cannot be like, oh, why are y'all raising suspicion on Crawford? We have raised suspicions on Eddie Reynoso as well. Eddie Reynoso's not off the hook neither. It's not like, oh, Eddie Reynoso, he's good, he's clean. I made a whole video dragging Reynoso in that camp. I don't know what's going on over there. That's disgusting what Reynoso's doing with his fighters right now. Right? But I do have the right to have suspicion about Terence Crawford, Victor Conte, and the SNAC program. And like I said, it just does not look good. It doesn't look good. I don't really have any reason to think Crawford's on that stuff. You know, if he goes in that Canelo fight and he's moving, and he's hurting Canelo, and Canelo can't hurt him, and he's just constantly moving, he doesn't gas for a minute of that fight, and his power looks pretty well. Like he's hitting like Edgar Berlanga, Jaime Munguia, and Canelo is hesitating to engage, and he's taking some of Canelo's best shots. I'd be like, yo, come on. You got to make it if you're going to do it, make it a bit less obvious, right? Like, pretend that you're hurt. You know, hold back on a punch or two, right? But just if he's able to do that, then it's like, come on, man. You on that stuff, man. We know you are. But right now, I think he is clean. There's no fight he's had. You know, the Madrigal fight, he should have took it then. Why didn't he? Because he probably never has. You know, the Earl Spence fight, that was a boxing masterclass. You know, I don't think he took anything then. But I'm really interested to hear your guys' take on the SNAC program of Victor Conte, Terence Crawford, all these guys. You guys let me know, how do y'all feel about this program, this company, and what do you think they should stand in boxing? Do you think they should be escorted out of boxing? You guys let me know in the comments below.